Commander Zyl'ax had seen the apex predator protocols activate exactly once during his training. According to YouTube analytics, 98% of viewers are not subscribed. That's a huge number. By subscribing the channel that is completely free, a simulation so terrifying that 2 cadets had to be medically sedated. The system had never, not once in 300 years of operation, triggered in reality. Until 17 seconds ago. "Sir, I need you to see this." Security Officer Vexia's voice carried the kind of forced calm that preceded galaxy-ending catastrophes. Every sensor in sectors 9 through 26 The command center exploded into chaos before she could finish. Threat indicators flooded every screen in cascading crimson. The ancient Kitharan detection grid, designed by a species that had survived 4 extinction events, shrieked warnings in 7 languages simultaneously. Emergency bulkheads slammed down across 17 sectors. Evacuation sirens wailed, and at the center of every tactical display, marked with the pulsing red icon reserved for planet killers and war gods, was a human undergraduate carrying a backpack. "That can't be right." Zyl'ax's claws dug into his command console. "Run a full diagnostic, now." "Already did, sir. 3 times. Vexia's hands trembled as she manipulated the holographic displays. Every system is functioning perfectly. The grid is operating exactly as designed. It's detecting, she swallowed hard, an apex predator, classification, extinction level threat, confidence, 99.7%. Zyl'ax stared at the main view screen. The extinction level threat was currently visible on camera feed 847C, standing at the transit hub intersection, looking at her phone with the vaguely annoyed expression of someone whose message wasn't sending. She wore what his human cultural database identified as jeans and a hoodie. She held a coffee container. Her backpack had a cartoon character on it. "That's Emma Johnson," he said slowly. "She's a chemistry student. She works part-time at the campus library. She volunteers at the Xenocultural Exchange Program." "Yes, sir." Vexia pulled up the biometric data and her scales went pale. "She's also registering thermal signatures consistent with a Vordax Prime Alpha, pheromone markers matching a Kilrathi apex hunter, cardiovascular patterns identical to a Thresher-class predator. And, sir, this is impossible. Her movement efficiency ratios match the extinct Zalthari Deathstalkers." The Zalthari Deathstalkers had consumed 17 sentient species before the Galactic Council managed to drive them extinct. It had taken a combined fleet of 43 worlds. "She's drinking coffee," Zyl'ax heard himself say. "Yes, sir, while radiating a threat profile that our systems classify as immediate evacuation imperative." Vexia's voice cracked slightly. "Security teams are already clearing all surrounding sectors. We've got 12,000 people in active evacuation right now. The containment teams are asking for authorization to deploy suppression fields." On the screen, Emma Johnson tilted her head, finally noticing the complete absence of other people around her. She looked around the empty transit hub with visible confusion, then shrugged and started walking toward the chemistry building. Every tactical display went insane. "Predator is mobile. Repeat, Predator is mobile." "Threat assessment increasing. Sir, it's increasing. How is it increasing? She's just walking." "Someone get me an explanation." Zyl'ax roared over the chaos. The Kitharan grid has never given a false positive. Not in 3 centuries of operation across 42 stations and 17 worlds. It correctly predicted the Margoth invasion 6 hours before their fleet arrived. It detected the Zenthari plague carrier before symptoms even manifested. And you're telling me it's flagging a 20-year-old human as the greatest threat it's ever seen because she's walking to class? Vexia brought up the threat assessment breakdown, her movements jerky with barely suppressed panic. "The system isn't malfunctioning, sir. Look at the analysis. It's not identifying her as one predator type. Every single apex predator classification we have is triggering simultaneously. Ambush predator, positive. Persistence. Hunter, positive. Pack predator, positive. Pursuit, predator, positive, or an opportunistic hunter, positive, or tool-using predator, positive. She looked up at Zyl'ax and he saw genuine fear in her eyes, something he'd never seen from a veteran security officer in 15 years of service. Sir, according to the Catharan Grid's biological analysis, that human isn't just an apex predator. She's somehow all of them. At the same time, and she doesn't even know it. On the screen, Emma Johnson checked her phone again, frowned, and took another sip of coffee. The threat level indicator pulsed like a dying star. Station Director R. Hill's voice crackled through Zyl'ax's emergency channel. "Commander, I need a status report. Please tell me this is a drill." Zyl'ax watched Emma Johnson walk casually through the empty corridors, completely oblivious to the panic she was causing, and realized he had absolutely no idea what to tell him. "Sir," he said finally, "I think we have a problem." "Run the biological scan again," Zyl'ax ordered, refusing to believe what he was seeing. "Sir, I've run it 6 times. Vexia's voice had gone flat, the kind of calm that came after panic burned itself out. "The results are consistent. Her resting heart rate matches a Vordax Alpha in hunt mode. Her thermal signature shows the same distributed heat pattern as a Kilrathi pack leader. Her chemical markers—" She stopped, manipulating the holographic display with shaking hands. "Her chemical markers are identical to 3 separate extinct super-predator species. Species that went extinct because the galaxy couldn't survive them. That's biologically impossible." "Yes, sir, it is." Vexia pulled up another data stream. "And yet her pheromone output is triggering instinctive fear. Responses in 47% of species classifications, including ours." Zyl'ax felt his scales prickle involuntarily. On the screen, Emma Johnson was now scrolling through her phone while walking, somehow managing to look both bored and slightly irritated. "Containment Team 7, this is Command," Zyl'ax spoke into his comm. "Status report." The response came with audible strain. "Sir, we have her in visual range, but there's a problem. Our weapon systems won't lock on. Every targeting computer is flagging her as a higher-order predator. The safety protocols are overriding our manual inputs." "Override the safeties manually." "We tried, sir. The systems are designed to prevent accidental firing on apex predators above our threat class. They're treating her like we're trying to shoot our own commanding officers. 3 of my team members are requesting permission to fall back. They're experiencing severe biological stress responses just from watching her on their displays." Zyl'ax was about to respond when the command center doors burst open. Dr. Lirana, the station's head xenobiologist, rushed in with 2 assistants. Her typically immaculate appearance was disheveled, her face flushed with what might have been excitement or terror. "I got your emergency summons," she said breathlessly. "Please, tell me this data is corrupted." "It's not," Vexia gestured to the screens. "We've verified everything multiple times." Lirana went absolutely still, staring at the biological readouts. The color drained from her face. "By the ancestors," she whispered, "she's not just registering as multiple predator types. Look at this distribution pattern: forward-facing binocular vision, ambush hunter, cardiovascular system optimized for sustained pursuit, persistence predator, omnivorous digestive markers, opportunistic hunter, advanced tool manipulation physiology, cognitive predator, and these social cooperation indicators." She looked up at Zyl'ax with something approaching awe. "Commander, this human displays every single evolutionary adaptation that defines apex predator status. She shouldn't exist. No single species can occupy this many predatory niches simultaneously. It violates—" Every alarm in the command center suddenly screamed louder. "What now?" Zyl'ax demanded. "Sir, the human just—" Vexia's voice cracked. She stopped to pet Professor Jixvar's therapy companion. On the screen, Emma had indeed paused. A small, fluffy Centauran comfort creature had apparently escaped its owner during the evacuation. Emma crouched down, making soft cooing noises, gently scratching behind its ears. The creature, designed to be calming and friendly to all species, was frozen in place, every muscle locked. Why is the threat assessment increasing? Zyl'ax stared at the numbers climbing. She's being friendly. The system is interpreting it as predator-prey interaction, Liranna said faintly. She's demonstrating complete dominance over another species without aggression. That's what the most dangerous predators do. They don't need to show aggression. Their mere presence establishes hierarchy. Emma straightened up, pulling out her phone. Her thumbs moved rapidly across the screen. She's communicating, Vexia reported. Text message to someone named Sarah. Contents. Hey, is class canceled? Everyone disappeared. It's weird. She hasn't even realized we evacuated 17 sectors because of her. Zyl'ax felt reality tilting sideways. On another camera feed, a security guard rounded a corner and came face to face with Emma. The guard, a veteran Krylonian warrior who'd served in 3 combat zones, took one look at her and sprinted in the opposite direction. Emma stared after him, visibly confused. She called out, "Hey, what's going on? Is there an emergency?" The guard's panicked footsteps echoed through the empty corridor. Did that guard just flee from a human asking a question? Zyl'ax couldn't believe what he was seeing. Instinctive fear response, Liranna confirmed, looking at her medical scanner. His adrenaline levels spiked 300%. His body recognized an apex predator and overrode his conscious control. Emma shrugged, turned around and started walking in a different direction. Threat assessment spiking again, Vexia announced. She's changed course toward, oh no. What? The central cafeteria, sir. Why does that? Zyl'ax stopped, realized. The system thinks she's hunting. Yes, sir. Zyl'ax slammed his hand on the emergency channel. Get me Director R. Hill, now. When the connection opened, he didn't wait for pleasantries. Sir, we need to contact the Galactic Security Council immediately. Commander, I'm already on with them. R. Hill's voice was tight. They're referencing protocols I didn't even know existed. Ancient containment procedures for extinction-class entities. Zyl'ax, they're talking about quarantining the entire station. She's a college student. She's an apex predator that breaks every biological classification we have. The council is... Wait, Rahil paused. They're sending someone, a specialist. ETA 30 minutes. On the screen, Emma found the cafeteria doors locked. She peered through the window, frowned, and pulled out her phone again. New text message. Seriously, what is happening? Everything's closed. I guess I'll just study in the park. She's relocating to open territory, Liranna said faintly. Establishing a base position with clear sight lines and multiple escape routes. That's textbook apex predator behavior. She thinks she's studying. Zyl'ax felt like he was losing his mind. Sir, Vexia said quietly, what do we do? Zyl'ax watched Emma Johnson walk toward the station's central park, sipping her coffee, completely oblivious to the fact that she'd just triggered the greatest security crisis in 3 centuries. He had absolutely no idea. Kaeldra arrived in a way that made everyone in the command center instinctively step back. She was a Tikaran, a species that had evolved alongside some of the galaxy's most dangerous predators and survived by understanding them better than they understood themselves. She'd written the definitive text on apex predator biology. She'd personally studied 17 extinct super-predator species through fossil records and ancient genetic samples. She took one look at the data streaming across the command center displays and went completely still. This can't be real, she said finally. It's real, Zyl'ax confirmed. We've verified it 37 times. Kaeldra moved to the primary console with the focused intensity of a predator herself, her fingers dancing across the controls. She pulled up biological markers, thermal scans, pheromone analysis, movement patterns. Her eyes widened with each new data stream. Forward-facing binocular vision, she muttered. stereoscopic depth perception with overlapping visual fields of approximately 120 degrees. That's ambush hunter specialization, the kind of vision you need to judge distances precisely before striking. She pulled up more data. But look at this cardiovascular system. Two-chambered heart, efficient oxygen distribution, sweat-based cooling mechanism. This is persistence hunter physiology, built for running prey into exhaustion over hours or even days. That's contradictory, Lirana said. You can't be both an ambush hunter and a persistence hunter. The energy expenditure patterns are fundamentally incompatible. I know. Keldra's voice was strained, and yet here's her digestive system, omnivorous markers indicating opportunistic feeding on both plant and animal matter. True apex predators don't do that. They specialize. She brought up neural scans, but this is what terrifies me. Look at her cranial capacity, tool-using intelligence, abstract reasoning capability, social cooperation markers that indicate pack-hunting coordination. She turned to face the assembled officers, and Zyl'ax saw something in her expression he'd never seen before. Fear. She's not one type of apex predator, Keldra said slowly. She's all of them, simultaneously. Ambush hunter with persistence capability, pack coordinator with opportunistic feeding, tool-using cognitive predator with the physical adaptations of pursuit hunters. The Kitharin system isn't malfunctioning, it's correctly identifying something that shouldn't exist, a predator that occupies every predatory niche at once. How is that possible? Zyl'ax demanded. It shouldn't be. In all my research across extinct species, I've never seen anything like this. The evolutionary pressures required to develop these traits are mutually exclusive, unless, Keldra pulled up Emma's genetic markers, unless the species evolved on a world so lethally competitive that the only way to survive was to out-adapt everything else, to become not just an apex predator, but the apex predator, the one that beat all the others. What kind of world would create something like that? I don't want to know, Keldra whispered. On the view screen, Emma had reached the station's central park. She found a bench, sat down, and pulled out what appeared to be a textbook. She took another sip of her coffee. Threat assessment unchanged. Extinction level, Vexia reported, now flagged as predator establishing territorial position. She's studying, Zyl'ax wanted to throw something. Emma pulled out her phone again, thumbs moving rapidly. Within seconds, the station's social media networks lit up with her post. Weird day at Kepler Station. Everything's closed and everyone disappeared. Anyone know what's going on? Trying to study for my organic chem exam, but the cafeteria's locked. She's complaining about the inconvenience, Vexia said flatly. We've evacuated 23 sectors, triggered the greatest security crisis in 3 centuries, and she's annoyed that she can't get lunch. Commander, Director R. Hill's voice crackled through the emergency channel. The situation is deteriorating. Ambassador Thixall of the Centauran Union is demanding humans be classified as a restricted species pending full biological review. The Krylonian delegation is seconding the motion. The Vexthul representative wants all humans quarantined to designated zones. Sir, humans have been on this station for 2 years, Zyl'ax protested. Emma Johnson has been here for 3 semesters. She volunteers at the Xenocultural Center. She helps run the Intergalactic Book Club. She's never shown any aggressive tendencies. That's what's scaring everyone, Commander. Rahil's voice was grim. The Council is asking, if she's this dangerous and doesn't know it, what happens if she decides to be dangerous? Keldra pulled up station records, her movements increasingly frantic. How many humans are currently on Kepler Station? 47, Vexia answered, mostly students and researchers. And incidents of violence involving humans? None. Actually, Vexia checked her database, looking confused. Incidents of all violence have decreased by 17% since the human exchange program began. They keep accidentally de-escalating conflicts by asking if people tried talking about it. Keldra stared at the data. That makes no sense. Apex predators don't reduce violence, they're the primary cause of it. On screen, Emma opened her textbook, completely oblivious to the crisis. She highlighted something, made a note in the margin, and took another drink of coffee. The afternoon sunlight filtering through the biodome made her look utterly peaceful. Every biological sensor in the command center screamed that she was the most dangerous thing in 17 sectors. "What are we supposed to do?" Liorana asked quietly. "Our entire classification system has no framework for this. She's simultaneously the greatest threat our sensors have ever detected and a college student worried about organic chemistry." "The system isn't wrong," Kyldra said, still staring at the biological data. "The Kitharin grid is functioning exactly as designed. It's detecting an apex predator that has every evolutionary advantage. Ambush capability, persistence capability, pack coordination, tool use, opportunistic adaptation. The only reason we're not dead is—" She stopped. "Is what?" Zyl'ax prompted. Kyldra looked up at him, and he saw the moment understanding hit her. "The only reason we're not dead is because she doesn't want us to be." The command center went silent. "That's worse," Vexia said finally. "That's so much worse. You're saying the only thing protecting us from an extinction-level predator is her personal choice?" On the view screen, Emma turned a page in her textbook, humming softly to herself. "Yes," Kyldra confirmed. "That's exactly what I'm saying. Zyl'ax made a decision that would either save the station or end his career. Possibly both. I'm going to talk to her." "Sir, that's—" Vexia started. "Insane." "Probably." Zyl'ax headed toward the door. "But we've had humans on this station for 2 years without incident. Emma Johnson has a perfect conduct record. She returns her library books on time. If she were actually dangerous, we'd know by now." Kyldra grabbed his arm. "Commander, every instinct I have as a predator specialist is screaming at me not to let you do this." "Noted." Zyl'ax gently removed her hand. "Keep monitoring. If anything goes wrong—" "We'll know immediately," she confirmed grimly. The walk to the Central Park felt longer than it should have. Zyl'ax's own biology was betraying him. His scales kept trying to shift into defensive patterns. His breathing was elevated, his muscles tensed for flight, all because he was approaching a 20-year-old with a chemistry textbook. Emma looked up as he approached, her face brightening with relief. "Oh, thank God! Can you tell me what's happening? Is there an emergency? Should I evacuate?" "Actually, Miss Johnson, I need to speak with you about—" Zyl'ax paused, realizing how absurd this was going to sound. "About you." "About me?" Emma blinked. "Did I do something wrong?" "Oh no, are my student visa documents out of date? I swear I submitted the renewal—" "No, nothing like that, it's—" He gestured helplessly at the empty park. "Our biological detection systems have flagged you as an apex predator. Extinction-level threat classification." Emma stared at him. Then she started laughing. Not nervous laughter, but genuine amusement that made her double over, clutching her textbook. "I'm sorry," she gasped between laughs. "You evacuated the station because of me? You think I'm scary?" She wiped her eyes. "Oh man, have you met a hippo, or a cassowary, or a polar bear? Humans aren't even the scariest thing on Earth." Zyl'ax felt his worldview tilting. "What?" "Earth has lots of apex predators," Emma said, still grinning. "We just learn to coexist with them. Well, mostly. Sometimes they eat people, but usually we avoid that." She pulled out her phone, scrolling through photos. "Look, this is my aunt's dog. That's a domesticated wolf. This is my friend's cat, domesticated tiger. We literally took other apex predators and made them into pets." The photos showed creatures with forward-facing eyes, prominent teeth, and clear, predatory features, all appearing docile and friendly. "You domesticated other predators?" Zyl'ax's voice came out strangled. "For fun, mostly. Also companionship." Emma kept scrolling. "Oh, and this is a picture from when I went diving last summer. That's a great white shark, 12 feet long, absolute apex predator, can bite a seal in half." "You went into the water with that thing?" Well, yeah, they're actually pretty chill if you're respectful. Emma looked at him curiously. Wait, seriously? What's going on? Why are your sensors freaking out? Zyl'ax's comm crackled. Kaeldra's voice. Commander, I'm monitoring this conversation. Ask her about Earth. Miss Johnson, can you describe your home world? Earth, Emma shrugged. I mean, it's pretty standard, right? Gravity's a bit higher than here. We've got varied climates, lots of biodiversity. Everything's kind of trying to kill everything else, but you get used to it. Everything's trying to kill everything? Sure. Predators, prey, plants, insects, bacteria, weather, natural disasters. Australia alone has like 20 different things that can kill you before breakfast. Emma said this as casually as discussing the weather. Humans survived by being smarter, more stubborn, and better at working together than everything else. We outthought the ambush predators, outran the pursuit predators, and out-cooperated the pack hunters. Kaeldra's voice came through again. She just described the most lethally competitive evolutionary environment I've ever heard of. Yeah, but we're civilized now, Emma continued. We channel all those predator instincts into getting good grades, making friends, building communities. Plus, coffee helps. She raised her cup. Seriously dampens the hunting drive. You're saying your predator instincts are suppressed by caffeine and social pressure? And laws, and ethics, and generally not wanting to be jerks. Emma smiled. Look, humans can be dangerous, but we choose not to be. That's kind of our whole thing. We evolved every advantage possible, then decided cooperation was more useful than competition. Zyl'ax realized Kaeldra was right. The greatest weapon wasn't Emma's physical capabilities or her species' evolutionary advantages. It was choice. Conscious, deliberate choice to be harmless, despite having every ability to be harmful. Your detection system probably needs a new category, Emma suggested. Like friendly predator or something? Because, yeah, humans are technically apex predators, but we're also, she gestured around, just trying to pass organic chemistry and make friends. At that moment, several alien children emerged from a nearby building where they'd apparently been sheltering. They saw Emma and immediately ran over, calling her name excitedly. Emma's face lit up. Hey guys, want to play soccer? I brought a ball! Threat assessment increasing. Vexia's panicked voice came through Zyl'ax's comm. She's engaging with multiple species juveniles. Zyl'ax watched Emma organize the children into teams, explaining the rules with exaggerated gestures and patient demonstrations. The kids, including species that typically showed fear responses to predator-class entities, were laughing and competing for her attention. Stand down, Zyl'ax said into his comm. Update the protocols, new classification, apex predator, domesticated, self-imposed. Sir, that's not a recognized. It is now. Zyl'ax watched Emma teach a young Centauran how to kick the ball properly. Because apparently, the most dangerous thing about humans isn't what they can do. It's that they can do almost anything and consciously choose not to. Through his comm, he heard Kaeldra laugh, slightly hysterical but genuine. We've been afraid of the wrong thing. We should be grateful they like us. Emma scored a goal, and the children cheered. The threat assessment system continued screaming its warnings, completely unable to reconcile what its sensors detected with what was actually happening. Somewhere in the chaos, Zyl'ax thought he finally understood. The humans weren't just on the station. They'd been choosing to be harmless this entire time. That was somehow more terrifying and more comforting than anything else. The Galactic Security Council meeting lasted 4 hours. The resulting protocol changes would reshape interspecies relations for generations. Human exception protocols are now official galactic policy, Director R. Hill announced 3 days later, looking exhausted. New threat classification, apex social, definition, species possessing extinction-level predatory capabilities who have culturally evolved to choose cooperation over competition. Zyl'ax stood before the assembled security staff, watching their expressions range from confusion to lingering fear. Effective immediately, all personnel will undergo mandatory briefing modules titled, "Don't Panic When Humans Exist." Key takeaway: yes, they're apex predators. No, they won't hurt you. Probably. Probably, someone asked nervously. They've had 2 years to hurt us and haven't, Zyl'ax said. I'm calling that a good track record. Vexia distributed data tablets. Dr. Kaldra is publishing a paper, Predation as Social Choice, the Human Paradox. It's already causing philosophical crises in 17 academic institutions. The University of Centauri Prime's entire Predator Studies department is restructuring their curriculum. Across the galaxy, the implications rippled outward. Philosophy departments grappled with the concept of evolutionary capability versus cultural choice. Military strategists studied human history with growing horror and fascination. A species that had weaponized everything from atoms to orbit, then mostly chose not to use any of it. Diplomats quietly recalculated every interaction they'd ever had with humans, realizing that what they'd interpreted as friendliness was actually deliberate restraint. The Krylonian ambassador had summed it up during the council session. We've been negotiating with a species that could have been a threat and chose friendship instead. I'm not sure if that makes me feel safer or more terrified. Back in the station park, Emma checked her phone and swore softly. Oh man, I'm gonna miss Professor Zilia's office hours. She looked up at Zyl'ax, who'd been standing nearby, still processing. Hey, is the evacuation over? Can I go to the science building? Yes, Miss Johnson. Everything's back to normal. Cool. Thanks for explaining all the Predator stuff. That was wild. She gathered her textbook and backpack. Oh, and fair warning, the human rugby team has practice tonight in the main gym. There's like 17 of them. She said it casually, helpfully, like a weather report. Zyl'ax felt his scales prickle. 17? Yeah, they're pretty intense. Lots of running and tackling, very loud. Emma waved cheerfully. See you around, Commander. She disappeared into the crowd of returning students and staff. Within seconds, Zyl'ax lost sight of her, just another person going to class. Except she wasn't. None of them were. Every human on the station, all 47 of them, were apex predators walking among other species, choosing gentleness every single day. The bartender at Stellar Brews, who made perfect cocktails, the maintenance engineer who fixed the atmospheric processors, the linguistics professor who patiently taught pronunciation, the children playing in the recreation centers. All of them. Every single one. The threat assessment system had rebooted with new parameters. Instead of the screaming alarms, a simple notation appeared next to human biosignatures. Apex social, monitor, non-hostile. Zyl'ax turned to Vexia, who joined him in the park. I need a drink. The human bartender makes excellent cocktails, Vexia replied automatically. Then they both stopped, looked at each other and started laughing. The slightly unhinged laughter of people who'd just survived something they didn't fully understand. We're going to a human for comfort beverages, Zyl'ax said. An apex predator will be mixing our drinks. Who probably knows 17 different ways to poison us. But won't. Because she chooses not to. They stared at each other for a long moment. I think I need that drink more than I realized, Vexia said quietly. Across the station, Emma sent a text to her roommate Sarah. Weirdest day ever. Apparently, I'm terrifying. Station security freaked out. Everyone's cool now. Coffee later. Sarah responded, LOL what? Yeah, sure. Usual place? If they reopened the cafeteria. Otherwise, that place near the dorms. In the command center, the threat assessment system hummed quietly. New protocols loaded into its ancient Kithrin programming, human biosignatures, apex social classification, monitor standard, response protocol, maintain awareness. Do not panic, offer coffee if stressed. Someone had added that last part as a joke. No one had removed it because it was honestly good advice. Zyl'ax watched the evening shift change, seeing the station return to normal operations. Humans passed by in the crowd. Students, workers, researchers, apex predators, every one of them choosing to be harmless. He'd sleep better once he had that drink, maybe 2 drinks. The human bartender really did make excellent cocktails.